Today we continue our COVID-19 talks with Dr. Amanda Novak from Baptist Health, joining us live today. Thank you so much for joining us. And quite a bit of breaking news coming from the FDA talking about the vote not to approve the Pfizer, a pretty big vote at that time, booster that is. We're getting a second vote that just came down with those 65 and over. Can you kind of walk us through the votes and what happened today, Dr. Novak?
Right. So it was a really pretty exciting day with this FDA advisory committee. So this is a group of specialists of infectious disease doctors and statisticians and epidemiologists who are experts in the field who debated all day the evidence that's out there, the science, what studies have been done. And so this first question that they voted on was, should we give full FDA approval to booster doses for everyone? And that was voted 16-2 against it. And so the big news then was like the FDA votes against booster doses. And so we thought that maybe that was going to be it for the day. But then they brought a second question. Okay, what about high-risk people? And so what they voted for was an emergency use authorization. And you'll remember, like, there's full FDA approval, and then there's these EUAs, which are like, we're not saying it's fully approved, but this is an emergency. There's some reasons you would want to do this. So that is for people that are 65 years and older, and then what they called people at high risk for severe COVID-19. And so there was a lot of discussion that will probably include healthcare workers and then other people with high occupational risk for getting COVID. So that might include, first responders or even teachers or daycare workers or people that are at high risk of being exposed to COVID in their jobs.
So really a lot to unpack, and I'm so thankful you were here live to kind of break it down for all of us. What comes next? What can we expect? And really, what does this mean for the booster in the future?
Right. So there's a few steps. First, this is an advisory committee of the FDA, so the full official press release sorts of statements will probably come out early next week, and we expect them to go along with exactly what the advisory committee recommended. So my guess is on Monday, the FDA will issue this emergency use authorization for these booster doses. Then on Wednesday, the part of the CDC that makes recommendations, the ACIP, they'll get together and vote and say, are we going to include healthcare workers? Are we going to include teachers? Do we want to be broad, or do we want to be kind of narrow in who this applies to? And they actually have several meetings set up over the next week and a half. And so it's a little hard to say for sure on the timeline. What I've sort of been saying around Baptist Health is, like, let's go ahead and make plans for the first week of October to be ready to go with giving booster doses, but it's still a little unclear exactly who's going to qualify.
And I know this is looking much further ahead. Still any possibility for a Johnson & Johnson booster shot in the future? Do you see that?
Yeah, so there's been a lot of talk about that, and the truth is people are looking at that really closely because we all want to know. Right now, what the best guess is that people that got the J&J vaccine it will be recommended that they get a second dose of that same J&J vaccine. So that's different from what they've done in other parts of the world. In Canada and in Europe, sometimes they'll mix the AstraZeneca, which is like the J&J. They'll mix that with an mRNA vaccine like Pfizer. But right now, what we think is that people that got the J&J will probably be recommended to get a booster dose, but we're still maybe weeks away from some clear rules on what we should do in those situations.
Dr. Novak, breaking it down for us. Thank you so much. You have been so wonderful this week. We appreciate you and all you do. Everyone there on the front lines, thank you again.
Sure, thank you.
And we want you to go to our Facebook page and ask your COVID questions. We are so thankful to have Baptist Health on every day at 4 p.m. next week. So please go right now and ask your COVID or vaccine question, and you might get an answer here on the air next week.